Hello friends, welcome to my today's webinar which is on what, how and why of project management, and I'm your host Prashant Kumar from channel Q Analysis. So let's begin with our today's webinar. The agenda for today's webinar would be something like this: why project management is required. I'll cover a few case studies. What is project management process and activities? What are the roles and responsibilities of a project manager? Project manager versus program manager. What is the difference between both of them? How to be a project manager from lead. If you are a lead and you are looking to become a project manager or you are aspiring to be a project manager, this is a very important point which you should look for. And last but not the least, I'll discuss 10 important points which will list down and help you to check if you are ready to be a project manager. Okay, so let's go ahead. Why project management is required? So to answer this question, I'll have 3 case studies in front of you. Let's begin with the first case study, and once we are done with all the 3 case studies, then we'll try to figure out the answer to the question which I asked above. Why is project management so important, or why is it required? So our first case study is Phoenix falling. As most of you know, that Phoenix is a bird which comes out of flashes and something on mythical bird, something on those lines. But over here, Phoenix is one of the new payroll system which was deployed by Department of Public Works and Government Services in Canada, and it was rolled out in year 2016. The project name was Phoenix, and the cost was nearly 50 million Canadian dollars. Now, just like any other project, it seems to be a payroll management system which is rolled out by government, a government system. That's it. But it had a big issue, and that was a good percentage of public servants have been incorrectly paid. Like many of the employers or many of the public servants, they are receiving too little, or some of them are receiving too much, and some of them have received no money at all, no payments at all. So this was a major drawback, a major problem with this Phoenix payroll system. Now, what was the cause behind it? After analysis, after the studies from government organization, from other institutes, plus private organizations coming into picture, and they figured out the main cause behind the issue was failure to cleanse the data prior to migration to the new system. From old payroll system, when they migrated to the new payroll system, the data was not properly cleaned and updated. And then software quality issues. The software which was being used for all this payroll management system was not up to the mark. Failure to have sufficient resources to handle the addresses, launch glitches, and other problems. So as soon as the new payroll system was launched, it had certain software quality issues, and then because of which there were a lot many queries, questions, and user issues being raised, but there were not sufficient resources to provide the support. And finally was one more issue which was very important, that before rolling out this new system, the users for this systems were not given adequate training. So all these were the main causes for Phoenix, the new payroll system of Canadian government, failing. With this, we move on to our next case study. At the last, I'll tell you what was the main root cause behind all of these case studies and all of the systems falling down. The second case study is regarding St. Helena Airport. In Atlantic, you have a airport which is ready and which was developed by government of UK. It was developed by Department of International Development UK. Project was the new airport type for civil aviation, and it was rolled out in year 2016. Cost was 285 million pounds. So, what is the issue over here in St. Helena Airport? it was a fully functional airport that couldn't be operated. Yes, reports indicate that there were warnings given about the wind shearing effect prior to the project being approved. Those warnings were apparently ignored or misjudged, and it appears the project failed to conduct the appropriate environmental and flight operation studies prior to construction, because of which, even though the airport was ready, it couldn't be operated. And then uh, the cause for all this issue was failure to access or address the risk. The risk was not properly addressed, it was not accessed, and hence it ended up into a loss of 285 million pounds. Now, moving on to our third case study, this is regarding Volkswagen. In German, they call it Volkswagen. So, it was regarding Volkswagen Group, and it is a very famous incident, very famous failure, scandal, scam, whatever you may call it. It was regarding the vehicle emission system. It was discovered in year 2015, which had a potential loss, which caused a potential loss of 18 billion US dollars to Volkswagen Group. In real world, while you're driving a Volkswagen diesel car, they emit 40 times more uh, NO than the national standard. So because of that reason, all Volkswagen cars such as Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda, Bentley, Bugatti, Lamborghini, Porsche, plus commercial vehicles which run on uh, diesel, almost 11 million vehicles were affected. And then Volkswagen Group had to pay a lot of fine and compensation as a result of this. And what was the issue? Prioritizing cost and profit margin over quality and government regulations. This was their motto. So because of that, they missed on the norms. Failure to disclose the information openly, withholding the relevant information, lack of quality control, testing the diesel vehicles on actual roads. So lot many issues were there, which I mentioned there in all the three case studies. But this one thing which is very much common, that is the risk management and the project management. Risk management is a part of project management. So may it be requirement, may it be the way in which you are conducting your operations, may it be your final product quality, or may it be handling different kind of situation and scenarios. Everywhere you need one thing which is most important, that is management skills. And all of these projects, some or the other way, they missed on project management and execution, because of which they ended up into something like this. And the companies, they had to face millions and billions of dollars, euros, pounds, whatsoever you can call, and they had losses of such a huge extent. So with this, we come to the most important thing of this three case studies, that is the learning. What is the importance of management? Management helps in achieving a group goal. It helps in achieving a group goal, organization goals. It helps in optimum utilization of the resources, maybe technical resources, HR, media, raw material, whatsoever it is, man, material, and finance. Any kind of resources, they can be utilized to their maximum or optimum. They can be utilized in an optimum way. Handles the risk and defines the objective. Yes, management is responsible for handling the risk and defining the objectives for everyone who is involved in the process of delivery or production. Establishes the equilibrium in changing environment. The external environment is not fixed, right? It is so dynamic. Every day you have new studies, new discoveries, new things coming in the market. May it be technical side, may it be on the financial side, may it be on the HR side. Every day new things are coming into pictures. So to keep up with the pace, in order to establish the equilibrium with the changing environment, management is something which has to be done in a very effective and efficient manner. Essentials of prosperity and growth. Somebody cannot grow until unless they manage their growth, right? You have to come up with a plan, and then you have to use your resources, whatsoever resources you have to use them in the best possible manner. Then only you can think of having a nice prosperity and growth. Establishes a sound organization. Yes. See, a well known a big brand like Volkswagen, they can also have glitches coming into the picture. And why? Because there was some lack of management and the management practices were not good. And we have seen the issues being faced. So if management is good and everything is taken care in a proper way, then it establishes or it ends up into establishing a sound organization. Last but not the least, project managers or the management team are the one who are responsible to figure out what to do, when to do, and ensure that whatever they are doing, that is done in the best and cheapest way. Yes, management is all about what to do, when to do, and ensuring that when it is done in the best and the cheapest possible manner. So we had lot many issues, concerns. With this, we move on to our next slide, and this gives you a different shade of management. So you can see we have a Dilbert cartoon over here where we have a senior person asking, how's the project going? Do you mean the one that has no management, support, ambiguous goals, no budget, and an angry team of overworked people who wanted to die? No, the other one. And then the answer comes, sometimes there isn't the other one. Exactly. So if you're not handling a project in a proper way, you can end up into something like this situation. So please understand the importance of management and project management, and please stay away from this. It's only good to laugh, but not to fall into such kind of situations. Now, what is project management? This is a very important question which we often get to know. Nowadays, people, they keep on talking about things like, I believe there used to be a time now, agile coming into picture. People, they ask about, we have product owner and then we have scrum master, but more or less product owner and scrum masters and these two roles have, I see it practically many of the organizations, they don't have a separate product owner and scrum master. Most of the time they have one person doing the role of product owner and scrum master, which is a mix of project management skills. So they take care of the planning thing as well as helping the team to move ahead and rolling out releases and helping them to overcome any kind of obstruction made be in terms of man, material, resources, or anything, any kind of situation that needs to be handled. Plus, delivery, smooth delivery has to be ensured. So, more or less, from this point onwards, I'll consider product owner plus scrum master or project manager altogether as same. So please, let's not get into those lines that okay, product owner is different, scrum master is different, and product manager is different. No, I'm here talking more on the management skills of a project owner or product owner. Like, what are the important things that somebody who wants a project to be managed in a proper way, or who is managing a project or a product in a proper way, what are the things, what are the skills, what are the role and responsibility, what are the challenges, and how can he get the things done? So, going forward, we'll talk on those lines. So, let's see. Project management overview. Project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements, that is, to deliver on time, on budget, results, learning, and integrating the organization's need. Yes. The definition itself is so very evident and self-sufficient to explain what exactly is the meaning of project management. You need to have knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to perform different kind of project activities so that the project requirements are met. And when I say project requirements, right away from the business requirements to delivery of those requirements on time within the budget, and from this process whatever is learned, that has to be integrated so that organization keeps growing and all the needs, all the goals of the organizations are met. This is known as project management. Project management process fall into 5 groups. There are 5 different groups in which you can subdivide the project management processes. These 5 groups are project initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. Yes. Generally, in most of the time, whenever you have a project and it has to be managed, the management comes in phases. So you have to do the management in 5 different phases. First phase is initiation, second is planning, third is execution, monitoring, controlling, and closing. So we'll see in my upcoming slides in detail about these activities and processes. So let's talk about the project management process. As I discussed above, there are 5 project management processes. Let's start with the first one, which is project conception and initiation. So over here, first of all, you come up with the idea. What exactly is your project? What you have to do, and you prepare a project charter and initiate a project. So all kind of legal formalities, what you have to do, maybe starting from somebody start from request for proposal and getting the budget approved and figuring out what could be the timelines and dates and delivery and agreements with the customer and figuring out finalizing the deliverables. There are so many things which can be considered as a part of conception and initialization, but this is mainly for the higher management, and it is mostly confined to the budgeting and the rules and setting out the expectation, and just to make sure that both the parties, client and the business side and the technical side, or the person who is going to actually execute it and the business what they have requested, both of things, they are in line, and both the people are on the client and the service provider, they both are on the same page, they both are knowing the things equally and they are at par. So this is the first phase. After that, we have definition and planning. Here, detailing of scope and budget is being done. Different processes or different activities that would be performed, they are planned. Work breakdown with schedule, and then many of them, they prepare a Gantt chart, they prepare a communication plan, and risk management plan has to be prepared as a part of definition and planning. And depending on all this work, schedule, communication, and risk, uh, proper budget has to be allocated, budget for each of these in a small programs and everything, all those activities and how much resource they will be taking, what could be the risk and how much money is required. Everything is figured out under this process. The third process is project launch execution. This is the one which is mostly done by the technical team. Over here, you already know what are the different kind of deliverables for you. Either if you're into agile or if you're into natural, the traditional way of project implementation, waterfall or something. So you break down the bigger requirements into a smaller one, and then you start executing them. You start developing them. You develop the key performance indicators, and then you focus on the quality and you decide the forecast. Okay, which way your project is going, what is the pace, velocity. You keep on tracking and checking out the status. So this is done on daily, weekly, and fortnightly or monthly basis, depending upon the project length and delivery time. And then comes the performance and control thing. Over here, while execution is taking place, these things, they work in parallel or just close to the launch thing, the execution thing, wherein the objectives, they are cross-verified time to time and checked. If at all there is any change in the objective, it is reflected in the execution. If not, then all the deliverables, what quality deliverables, what are received, they are verified against the objective expected versus actual, it is matching or not. Effort and cost tracking, we are not, there shouldn't be over budgeting or the cost should not cross the expected one. So planning should be done in a proper way. And then performance, how exactly it is performing, maybe in terms of man, material, technology, or the output, everything performance has to be verified. And lastly, the project closure takes place, wherein a postmortem is being done for what was missed and what was done good and what was done bad, how can the bad things be improved. Product punch list is created, and reporting, final reporting, that okay, within the timeline everything could be completed. If at all there were any deficiencies or any kind of mistakes being done, how can it be improvised in the upcoming version. Were there any kind of learnings, anything which can be improved, or something which can be taken from one project or product and can be applied into somewhere else, something like that. All those things are taken care in this part, and final report is prepared and it's shared with the management and the client, and it is used for future. Now, what are the different activities of project management? So when I say project management, you have so many different activities involved in it. Let's go through these activities one by one briefly. The first is communication. You need to have a very clear communication, may it be upward or downward. When I say upward to the higher management and to the clients, yes, you need to be very much clear on that. You cannot miss out any part of communication. For example, let's say the deadlines, if there is any change in requirement, deadlines also need to be changed, right? If deadlines are not meant to be changed, then you have to increase the number of your resources, or you have to increase the number of working people, and hence your budget will increase. And if your budget is increasing, you need to revise your planning as well. So just because of communication, the other things are also getting impacted, right? So communication is very important. Same way when you, for example, your team is growing, and then you figure out that okay, you have to communicate everybody, and then you cannot figure out the way to communicate everybody. Then you need to communicate with the leads. Lead in turn will communicate with their juniors or the other colleagues, and in this way everybody will be on the same page, right? Communication is one of the very important activity. Then is teamwork. Yes, project can be successfully managed and executed only if your team is supporting it. If not, then you have to come up with something so that your team should get involved and everybody should give the 100%, so that there is optimum utilization of resources and minimum risk, and you can come up with the great successful projects. The other one is analysis. Analysis, yes, at every point of time you have to do the analysis. With even a slightest change in any of the components of the project, the other components may get impacted. So you always have to keep a track and analyze the impact. And then budget is one of the most important thing. What, like all of us, most of the people who work and you get salary, your salary something is totally depending upon the budget, right? The company or the client, what kind of budget he is approving, so how many resources you can put and how much profit you can make for your organization. So this is what is totally dependent upon the budget thing. Planning, depending on the budget what you get, you have to plan everything. You have to plan your risk, you have to plan your goals, you have to plan your deadline schedules, you have to plan your team activity, you have to plan deliverables, you have to plan everything, you have to plan your control. There's so many things, and everything requires a planning. You have to come up with a plan for every one of those. And then problem solving. Project management is not a cakewalk thing. And there's so many components, so many dynamic components involved. So every stage of time you'll be having some other problem or issues coming up, and you have to solve it, right? So you have to have a problem solving skill. You have to use it in order to successfully complete your project. For example, it can be any HR related issue, it can be any technical issue, it can be budget related problem, it can be something related to the team members, or it can be something related to the client. So there could be so many problems, and each time you have a problem, you have to solve it. And that's a part of your project management role. Okay. Then you have to create milestones. Yes, you have to set milestones. You cannot say you start a project and after 6 months you complete it. No, that way it doesn't work. You have to come up with the milestone. Let's say you can come up with a milestone fortnightly or a monthly milestone. So you have 6 milestones, and these milestones help you to check where exactly you are and how much is left and how much is pending and how much has been done, something like that. Like when you're in journey, project management is a kind of journey. So when you start from zero. When you end at 100. So whenever you're planning for a road trip, you go from one place to another. Till the time you reach your destination, you keep on seeing a milestone, and milestone tell you, okay, you have completed this much of distance and this much distance is pending. Same way in project management, when you start a project and when you end a project, you need certain milestone which should tell you where have you started and how much you are far from your goal and from ending the project. Now, when you have a budget, you have plan, you have milestones, you have deliverables, you have a good team, Next, the important thing which you should have control. I'll discuss control more after risk. So risk comes first with everything. Whenever we talk about budget, team, clients, services, or external vendors, internal vendors, may it be any kind of technology, or may it be kind of budget, or scheduling, timelines, or client expectation. There's so many things in which each of these there is a risk involved. So if at all, let's say uh, anybody in your team is leaving a job, or for example, there was a strike, something goes wrong, and there was a strike in the city, or the whole city was, there was a catastrophe or some kind of incident taking place, and everything was lost for 1 or 2 days. There was an incident in the town, there was a riot in town, and all the offices were closed. Or maybe, let's say, uh, there's your team member, one of your team members, he has left the job, and with him two other people. He was a lead, and they were, since he is demotivated, his team, which is again 4 or 5 people and working with him under him, the lead himself has left the job, and 5 people under him, they are now with no lead, and they are also demotivated. So whole day it is impacting the overall impact of your work. So there are so many things which can be impacted, right? Maybe because there was a certain emergency project, and the whole of the funding was to be given to those, and then there couldn't be funding for your project, so you have to go dry, and for a week to or for a month without any funding you have to work. So what is your bandwidth, how much you can do, how much cushioning padding you have? Let's say there was a certain requirement, client is in urgent need and he needs something on a fast basis, and then instead of the prior decided deadline, they want to go 1 month earlier because government norms change. So now you have to get everything which you have planned for 6 months, the same has to be done within 5 months. So this is again a scheduling risk. There are different kind of risk, and every time you have a risk, you have to plan it and control it. Yes, you have to control all your activities, you have to control all your risk, you have to manage all your resources, you have to manage all your risk, and you have to plan and act accordingly so that you should achieve your goals within desired timeline. These are the these are the most important activities that the project manager has to do. You cannot miss upon your goal. And when I say goal, you have different. You have your personal goals that, okay, I want to achieve this project within 80% of what has been allocated to me, and I want to show that I have saved 20% to my company, even though my company is giving me, let's say, $1 million to get a project done, and if I can get it done in point 0.8 or $0.9 million, then I'm saying $0.1 million for my company. So that's a kind of personal achievement which I can show them. Or else, let's say there's a goal, a company wants you to have a goal that we are doing it, but we want to come up with something which should be a value addition. So we want to complete it within 5 months, and 1 month would be a post-production support that would be free, and then we want to showcase this to our client that we're giving them a value add. So there are certain kind of goals, and then deadlines are very important. Unless you have deadlines, you can't have so milestones, planning, and deadline, they go hand in hand. And depending on this, you figure out whether you are in risk or you're not in risk. If you are in risk, again, you do some analysis, and then you do some planning, use your problem solving skills, and try to control the risk and go ahead and come up with a new solution. These are the main activities of a project manager. With this, we move on to the project manager's responsibilities. What are the responsibilities of a project manager? A project manager has got certain responsibilities, which are stakeholders management, integration of different kind of components, may it be technical, may it be human component, technical component, or business component, deciding upon the scope, finalizing the schedule, minimizing the cost or optimizing the cost, having a high quality deliverables, managing human resources, communication with higher management, business, clients, and users, figuring out the project risk, and procurement of man, material, and finances. So these are the most important responsibilities which we have seen from our previous slides, that what exactly is project management and what are the activities and process that a project manager does. On those, we can figure out these are 8, 9, or 10 most important responsibilities that a project manager has to perform. Okay. Now, with this, we move on to a next slide, which talks about program manager versus project manager. Now, this is something which I keep on getting asked. I have been asked many a times from many people. They keep on asking me, what is the difference between program manager and project manager? What is program management and project management? So I thought of adding this slide. Please, you can see a slide over here which talks about a program. So program is overall the umbrella under which you have so many projects running together. For example, project A, project B, and C. Project A has certain deliverables, B has certain deliverables, and project C has certain deliverables. Program management is the management of multiple projects, all working in unison towards a common goal. So there's a common goal, and for which you have certain projects running, and all of them, they run under same program. That is, and when you manage this kind of program, in turn you manage the projects. Such kind of program is known as management of such kind of program is known as program management. And project management, application of knowledge, skill, tool, and techniques to project objectives to meet stakeholders' need and expectation. That is known as project management. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you are in a bank. I worked with the bank, so investment bank. So I'll give an example. I worked with an investment bank in the fixed income group, or so fixed income instruments, capital markets. This is what I was working. So in capital markets, you have different domains working together. This is a huge investment bank domain, and you have certain subdomains working over there, like interest rate, derivatives, and debentures. There's so many things working hand in hand. Um, so let's say you want to manage a risk management thing for all kind of risk management team, security team, and then you have know your customer, KYC team, plus you have something like fixed income instrument and growth developmental models, plus you have regulatory norms. So these are the different projects or subdomains on which you have different kind of projects, and all of them, they fall together under the same umbrella, which is called fixed income instruments, or which is known as capital markets. So capital market is management. Capital market is a program, and under that you have so many different kind of projects running together for different subdomains, and they are known as programs. So you have separate, they're known as projects. So you have separate project managers handling different kind of projects for different kind of subdomains with certain kind of deliverables, and all of them, they come under one program, which is uh, a combination of different kind of projects. And this is the difference between program and project management. Now, now we come to the main slide of all this presentation, that if you are a lead, team lead or tech lead, and you want to be a project manager, what are the things you should do? How can you migrate from a leader role to a project manager? Being a lead, how can you migrate to a project manager role? So there are a few things which you have to keep in mind before you migrate from lead to project manager. These are something which, when a lead, they start doing it, they can expect to achieve a role of project manager, and they can start getting into a shoe of project manager. So these are the things. To explore the latest concept and techniques of project management, to increase the value contribution to the organization, to prove yourself as skillful in managing projects, to learn a new thought process that helps organize thinking and a structured approach, to acquire a professional degree or recognition and increase job prospects, and endless possibilities and learnings. So when a lead, he knows about the latest techniques, concepts regarding project requirement, and he knows about the business requirement, and he know latest concepts, how to handle such different kind of aspects of a project, what we discussed in our previous slides, or when he is providing value or contributing to organization in order to prove himself skillful enough to manage a project, then he can slowly move on to a role of project manager from lead. To learn new thought process and help to have a new thought process that helps in organized thinking and a structured approach. You need to have a structured kind of approach so that you are in sync from your lower level members to your high level member, and everybody is in sync, and your new thought process is helping. You cannot just think in terms of a software engineer or a team lead. You have to think in terms of a organized thinking as a project manager, with all those points which we have discussed earlier, keeping them in your mind. And then you need to acquire a professional degree or recognition. It increases your job prospect. For example, many times, even if you're not having any specific degree like PMI, PMP certification or something like that, even then you can, if you're in the same organization and you're working for 6, 7, 8 years and you are doing extraordinary job and you're performing all those roles which a project manager is performing, you are eligible to get a project manager role. But if uh, you're not getting it and you want to make a change and you want to increase your job prospect, then it is advisable to have a project management certification or a kind of degree, management degree, that will help you to get into project manager's role. And then when you start thinking about yourself as a project manager, you can see endless possibilities and learning. There's so many things which you should do when you want to be a project manager. We'll figure out in our next slides what are the 10 most important things which a lead should do if they want to grow as a project manager. Before that, we'll talk about the expectations from a PM. So now, in a team, you have certain people who want to grow as a PM, but then not everybody will become a project manager. Only a few of them, or only one of those, will become project manager. And who will become that? Who is fulfilling all these expectations? So what are the expectations from a project manager? A project manager is expected to handle project effectively in an organization. He is expected to define the project and agree with the customer. He is expected to plan and access resources needed for the project. He is expected to estimate the project cost and make proposals. He is expected to plan and schedule activities in a project. He is expected to allocate the right resource at right time so that the resources are used in an optimum manner. He is expected to assess the risk and failure points and make backup plans. That is very important. And he is expected to lead a project team effectively and communicate well among team members. Now, when you're provided with the role of PM, or whenever you apply for a role of PM, there are so many expectations. But these are something which are so very common, like on personal skill set level. These are the things which a project manager must have, should have. Then only they can think of excelling in their role. And all these points need to be fulfilled if at all you want to get hired in some organization as a project manager, or if you want somebody to hire you as a project manager. Now, let's see if you are ready to be a project manager. In next 10 slides, I'm going to talk about the 10 most important features which I have learned from my friends, from my directors, from other project managers after spending almost 13 years in IT. Whatever I have learned from my master's and from my Harvard degree and my management degree. So all those points I'm going to mention in upcoming 10 slides. And you have to rate yourself, you have to judge yourself that how well you are doing on those 10 points. If you think you are doing good on those 10 points, I guess you are ready to be a PM. So let's go. From you, me to ours. Yes. If at all you are still talking in terms of you, me, I guess then there is no point you can become a PM, because if you want to be a project manager, you have to think in terms of hours. It's a collaborative effort. It's never you, me, or mine, she, or somebody else. It's always ours. Yes. The project manager always thinks in terms of collaborative effort, a team as a whole, and he's always representing his team. So for me, there is no space for you and me. It is all about ours. Manage yourself before others. So you can see a cartoon over here. The guy is sitting in front of mirror and saying, I'm going to practice on you before I start managing other people. Exactly. This is what is needed. Before you start to manage, I have seen many people who think they have spent almost 8 or 10 years of time and they think, okay, I have been a lead for so many years and now I can manage others. No, that's a completely wrong approach. If you can't manage yourself, you cannot manage others. So when I say manage, you should have your own goal, you should have your own targets, you should have your deadlines. What are the risks for you? You have to figure it out. What are the deadlines for you? What are the kind of goals and targets you're looking for? What is your approach towards it? All these things you have to do it upon yourself, and you have to meet your own goals and targets, and you have to manage yourself. If you have to manage your work, you have to manage your target, you have to manage your aim. If you can do it with yourself, then, and in a nice and successful manner, it comes with practice, then only you can do it with others. If you can manage yourself, then only you can manage others. Lead by taking responsibility. So here is a quote for you. Leadership is all about taking responsibility, not making excuses. So whenever you're a leader or you're a lead and you want to take some actions, these actions, they can lead into success and they can lead to failure as well. So whenever success is coming and saying, me and we have done the thing, I have done the thing, and because of that we achieved the success. And whenever you have a failure, you say, okay, it was a team and everybody worked, but things couldn't work out, so because of them we failed. No, this is not something which is going to make you a good project manager. Okay, there are people who do it, but I don't really appreciate it. It's their way of doing, and I don't think they're going to go a long way by doing such kind of things. If you want to be a good project manager and a successful project manager and go for a long run, then you should take the responsibility and you should lead by taking responsibility. Focus on solution rather than problem. I've seen people who discuss about problems and problems issues and over planning about the problem, but they don't talk about the solutions. Come on, let's keep it simple, right? Okay, problem is already there, and you know what is the problem. Now you have to figure out the solution. So your focus should be on solution and not the problem. What could be the solution? What could be the best possible solution, and how to achieve it? What is the procedure, and how exactly you can do it, and the minimum time and minimum or with the optimum resources, how can you figure out a solution? And this is what you do as a part of manager, right? So focus on solution rather than problem. Next, excel above expectations. So you can see I have posted this image over here on my slide. There's so many balloons, right? And few of them are big in size, few of them are small, few of them are closer to land, and few of them are higher in sky. So same way, there are so many guys and girls in your team, or maybe another teams who are also aspiring to be managers, right? It's not only you who want to be a manager. There's so many other people who are also interested to become manager. Then what to do? They're all like this selling balloons. You have to be above and beyond expectation. You have to perform better than others. So whatever is expected out of you, you should do above and beyond it. You do something extra. You should do something better than others. So the highest balloon which is there in air, that is the one who is going to go furthest and who will have the maximum attention, right? So this is what I'd suggest. In order to be the best, you cannot be like others. You have to be above and beyond the expectations. Be the best in whatever you do and excel above the expectations. The next, help others. Yes, he climbs highest who helps another up. Exactly. So what do you think? When you become a project manager, you become superior to everybody and then you can just be bossy and give in orders? No. Becoming a project manager means helping out others. There are so many, you are on top of the cliff, and there's so many who are at the bottom of the cliff or who are in the middle of the cliff, and everybody needs to help you to come up with a helping hand. You should be helping them in terms of technology, in terms of personal front, issue resolutions, guiding them, training them, helping them out with any kind of advices or any kind of solution they're looking for. So you have to help others to reach to the successful level, so that if everybody in your team are doing their best job and they're on top, but obvious your team will reach at the top, and every project executed by your team will also be yielding at top results. Isn't it so simple? Now, what do you see here? We have a rooster, and he's just crossing the canal or the river, and there's a small bridge, wooden bridge, and you can see he's taking the lead. Exactly. You have to lead by example. If you're leading by example, that is a very important trait for a manager. So there are certain managers who are managers just for the namesake, but whenever it comes to the technical thing, they become a little confused and they don't know what to do and they need help from somebody else. No. If you want to be a manager, you should know what are the different kind of skill sets which are being used in your project. What are the different requirements, maybe in terms of business, maybe in terms of technology, maybe in terms of delivery, maybe in terms of handling different kind of clients, issues, risk management, and several kind of tasks. So you should lead by example. If somebody is having a problem, you should be able to understand it and help it resolving, or you take initiatives. You should be the one who should come up with some kind of solution initiatives or leading others so that they can follow you and they can learn from you, right? It's more like taking the responsibility and taking initiative at the same time. So you take initiative and they follow you. If something goes wrong, you take responsibility. If something goes wrong, again you take the responsibility. In this way, you rise and fall together. But yes, you have to lead by example. Next one, proactive and not reactive. Yes, you have to be proactive and not reactive. Now, what is the difference between proactive and reactive? Let's say I'm giving an example. If something goes wrong and then you think, it went wrong, let me try to rectify it and go ahead and do something so that it can be deferred or it can be resolved. So such kind of approach is known as reactive approach. Proactive approach is thinking about a risk, planning it and managing it, acting accordingly, so that whenever, first of all, you should not fall into that kind of risky situation. And if at all you are falling into that risky situation, you already have a plan for it and you know what exactly to do in such kind of situation. So you have to be proactive and not reactive if you want to be a successful manager. And then learn, practice, and improve. Yes, this is one of the very important thing which you should do as a part of manager, or even if you're a lead or anybody. I suggest this is very important for them. Nowadays, technology is changing. Project management skills are changing. Interpersonal skills are changing. There's so many new things, new innovation, new discoveries, and new kind of theories, new kind of practices coming into picture. Like 20 years back, who thought that there could be something coming as lean or agile? But now lean, agile, Kanban, there's so much into picture, and the normal waterfall approach or traditional approach has minimized, right? Same way, 20 years down the lane or 10 years down the lane, there'll be so many different kind of approach coming into picture, right? So you should always be ready to learn new things, practice it, and then keep on improving so that you are ready for the market and you know what exactly to do, how to do, and when to do, and in what kind of situation, how to react, and how to take care of things in the best possible manner. And this you can do only by learning and practicing and improving yourself. Last but not the least, try, ask, and act. Yes, if you don't go after what, if you think you have the skill set and you don't go after what you want, you will never have it. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. And if you don't step forward, you'll always stay at the same place. So if you think you have gained all this knowledge, exposure, and all kind of a skill set, and you are exhibiting them on day-to-day basis, then that is the time you should go ahead and ask for the project manager role, project management role. If you are getting it, it's fine. If you are not getting it and you are still being there, then you'll always stay at the same place. So take a action, apply somewhere else for a project manager role or project management role, and then since you have this skill set and you are taking effort, you are trying, you'll surely get it. So try, ask, and act is the key to your success. If you have all these 10 skill sets and you're taking actions, you're trying, you're improving, you're asking, I'm pretty sure you'll surely achieve a role of project manager. I'm 200% sure of it. And friends, it takes a lot of effort in making such kind of presentations, webinars. I request you to support me by subscribing to my channel, sharing it with your friends whom you think it could be evaluate for them or they might be interested in it. So please like, share, and subscribe my channel Q Analysis if you really like this webinars and presentation. And let me know your thoughts, or in the comment section you can add your thoughts so that I can come up with different kind of presentation, whatever you people are looking for. And this is about me. I'm a QA evangelist and software testing enthusiast, computer engineer by profession. I've done my PG specialization management from Howard University and ICMS Sydney, having 12 plus years. Soon I'll be having 13 plus years of experience in IT industry. I started as a Java developer, then business analyst, test consultant, and finally a quality head. I worked at major IT firms, investment banks, startups across USA, UK, Switzerland, Germany, and India. And you can feel free to connect me at in for any QA related queries, suggestion, mentoring, or consulting opportunities. You can get in touch with me at LinkedIn, or you can subscribe to my channel. You can mail me. You can have my mail ID over there as well. So please feel free to like, share, and subscribe and get in touch with me. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time, and see you next time. Bye bye.